Matt DiBenedetto gives an update as he searches for his next NASCAR ride, and could the NASCAR Xfinity Series be getting a new name sooner rather than later? How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Slightly different setup, still a work in progress, but you're starting to see the finished product. If I don't see you before tomorrow, I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Black Friday right around the corner, and I've actually got a special deal for y'all. The top link down below will take you to the Daily Downforce's online shop where you can pick up a brand new Out of the Groove hoodie. Stay warm this holiday season and look groovy at the same time. Lots of great stuff available at the Daily Downforce. Click that link down in the description below. We've got lots of NASCAR news to catch up on. Let's start with Matt DiBenedetto, who yesterday posted a short video clip on his social media platforms updating fans on his search for a new NASCAR ride.
Just an update of everything that's going on. Everything's good. Everything's good in our world. No, I'm not retiring. You guys aren't getting rid of me that easy. Racing runs through my blood.
The video begins with a call to action to vote Matt DiBenedetto for most popular truck series driver, but then he gets right down to business. Literally.
You guys know NASCAR is a business, and I mean that not in a bad way. I mean it in a good way, to where we're building the partnerships, building the sponsorships behind me, working on all that and putting it together, because I'm really looking at, the next 5-10 years of my career. I'm only 32. I'm not that old. Right, babe? We're not old. I'm only 32.
That's right.
I don't know. When I'd stand at driver intros, though, with some of them kids in the truck series, I was like, gosh, I feel old. It takes money to go racing, so we're just trying to cinch up some sponsorship and figuring out the details for next year. And there's a couple opportunities that are out there, but just having to build it a step at a time. So that's it.
At the end of the video, Matty D promises to keep all his fans updated throughout this process. I know there are a ton of Matt DiBenedetto fans out there who are clamoring for any sort of news regarding his NASCAR future, but you heard straight from the source right there, there's not much new to report. Matt DiBenedetto is fighting the same battle that just about every stock car driver, especially in the Xfinity and truck ranks, are fighting right now: sponsorship. If you bring a lot of sponsorship, just about every team is going to line up to at least talk to you, if not outright sign you. That's just the way the game is played right now, especially in the lower ranks. You're not so much trying to woo potential team owners, you're trying to woo sponsors to give you money. Team owners will sign you if you got money. The process is interesting right now, to say the least, but you heard from Matt DiBenedetto there. Nothing really new to announce. Look, Matt DiBenedetto is a good race car driver. I think he's good enough to race on Sundays. But unfortunately, he just hasn't been able to get out of his own way. Or in some ways, I think he's sort of become the victim of his own hype. Matt DiBenedetto became popular a few years ago because he was extremely open. He let fans like you and me into the life of an aspiring race car driver, scratching and clawing his way in rough equipment. But then there was sort of the awkward split from Go Fast. I'm gonna go take a chance on myself. He spent that year at Toyota, then he ended up with the Wood Brothers, where 2 years later, another awkward breakup. I think it was around this time many fans became impatient. DiBenedetto had some good runs, a few second place finishes. He even made the playoffs one year, but he missed the playoffs in 2021. He failed to win a Cup Series race. DiBenedetto was the quintessential talented guy who just needed a chance. He got a chance. Not a perfect chance, but a pretty darn good chance. And he was okay. I think Corey LaJoie got a taste of this as well earlier this season. LaJoie is another driver where it's, if you get him in a good car, then we'll see what he can really do. A lot of fans dismissed Corey LaJoie after one race, after Gateway, when he drove that Hendrick car at a track Hendrick Motorsports typically struggles at. Didn't have a great race. I remember seeing the comments, and it wasn't necessarily the majority, but a lot of fans were ready to dismiss Corey LaJoie. Oh, guess he doesn't actually have it after all. I think the same thing has already happened to Matt DiBenedetto. Now sure, he may be a little off-putting behind the scenes. Another awkward breakup a couple months ago, this time with Rackley War. The Let's Go Brandon blunder in 2021, I think, left a bad taste in some fans' mouths. All of that matters, but let's be honest. If Matt DiBenedetto had won the Bristol Night Race in 2019, if he'd won at Talladega, if he'd won at Las Vegas, converted a couple of those second place finishes into firsts, I think his odds of landing a good NASCAR seat would still be very high. But DiBenedetto wasn't great, and I think fans became impatient. That's what ultimately started the snowball that led us to where we are now, where Matt DiBenedetto, despite making the Truck Series playoffs this last year, is without a NASCAR seat as we near the holidays. Not sure where he ends up. I hope he finds a spot somewhere because, again, the talent is there. But we all know at this point it takes more than just talent to have a successful NASCAR career. A few interesting headlines from yesterday. First, NASCAR is rebranding the Xfinity Series to simply the NASCAR Canada Series. Take a look at the new logo. As you can see, Xfinity is still serving as one of the two presenting sponsors. I like the rebrand. If you're a hardcore NASCAR fan, you already knew the Xfinity Series, yeah, that's the Canada Series. But now with this new logo, whether you're a NASCAR fan or not, this series is instantly identifiable. I think that's a good thing. I think the NASCAR Cup Series is a strong brand. The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series, terrible. Too many words, too many syllables, too confusing. Sweet and simple, instantly identifiable. Speaking of rebrands though, there's now chatter that the NASCAR Xfinity Series could get rebranded in the near future. Reporter Adam Stern, writing for Sports Business Journal, wrote this week that Xfinity, quote, could seek to move on after 2024 and focus on other areas of the sport to market against. Xfinity's 10-year naming rights agreement expires at the end of next year. Also, the current TV agreement with Fox and NBC expires at the end of next year. We already know that the Xfinity Series will move on to the CW starting in 2025. You gotta wonder if that plays a role in their decision. Xfinity is owned by Comcast, who I believe also owns NBC. I'm not exactly sure how the flow chart works, but they're all connected. With NBC losing the Xfinity Series TV rights after 2024, I wouldn't be shocked if that contributes to Xfinity's decision. Let me know down in the comment section below who you'd like to see step up and replace Xfinity. Perhaps Busch comes back. They're still a presenting sponsor of the Cup Series. Could Busch take over the secondary series? The Busch Series returns? Or like Pete Pistone suggested here on X, what about the Grand National Series? Maybe that branding could make a return. Could be a cool throwback. I'm all for simple, recognizable branding. Cup Series, Canada Series, Truck Series. Hey, Craftsman came back to sponsor the Truck Series, so hey, maybe there is a path for Busch beer to return. A lot of folks still call it the Busch Series, never stopped, so who knows? One thing I do know is that if Xfinity does not renew their title sponsorship agreement, I will be thrilled to be rid of the fast as Xfinity 10G shtick. Talk about over-corporatization. A guy gets out of the car after an emotional win, and the first thing he does is lay a cheesy sales pitch on his audience. I get what Xfinity was trying to do. They were trying to do the whole, NFL player wins the Super Bowl. What are you going to do now? I'm going to Disney World. They were trying to do something like that, but just failed miserably. I hate it. I hate it so much. Let's just hope if Busch Beer comes back, they don't come up with their own slogan. Speaking of TV though, I mentioned the expiring TV agreement. Negotiations for the next media rights deal continue, and according again to Sports Business Journal, streaming may have a greater role than we initially anticipated. Adam Stern tweeted yesterday, NASCAR has expanded its proposed mid-season digital streaming package to 10 races, up from 6. And it's possible that both Prime Video and Turner's Bleacher Report Sports could get a slice. NASCAR could announce deals as soon as next week's banquet. Well, hey, that last sentence is actually kind of exciting because the sooner NASCAR finalizes their next media deal, they can come back to the team, sit at the table, and finalize the charter and revenue split agreement. So this is the first domino that needs to fall. It sounds like it may be close. But back to the focus of the tweet, 10 races on streaming. And I had no idea Bleacher Report streamed live sports. Like, is that common knowledge? I didn't know that. Maybe it's through Max or HBO Max, something like that. Whatever the case, I would very much prefer Amazon Prime. If they're gonna do 10 races in the middle of the season, I hope they can strike a deal with just one streamer. We already have to move from Fox to NBC. Now you're talking about Fox to Amazon to NBC. Let's not make it Fox, Amazon, Bleacher Report, whatever, NBC. It's too complicated. Simple is almost always better. Again, I'll go back to that. Again, I'm a big fan of Amazon Prime. They've been streaming live sports for a couple of years now. Obviously, the massive deal they struck with the NFL to stream Thursday Night Football. I did a couple of Google searches. Nearly 150 million people in the United States alone subscribe to Amazon Prime. That is way more people than subscribe to Fox Sports 1, USA Network. Amazon Prime is bigger than cable. So if we're talking about trying to grow the sport, all due respect to Bleacher Report, to Turner Sports, whatever, I would prefer they stick with Amazon Prime. Hopefully they get a deal done. But larger than that, just talking about streaming, it will be a culture shock. It'll be a big change for many NASCAR fans. And yes, it will suck for fans who don't currently have Amazon Prime. They will have to pay for a new streaming service if they want to watch all 38 NASCAR events. That's very annoying. I completely understand that. But at the same time, streaming is here. Putting 10 races on a streaming platform would move NASCAR broadcasts into the modern day. It'll expose the sport potentially to new or even younger audiences, things that NASCAR, quite frankly, desperately needs. Oh, and I'm sure these streaming platforms, especially Amazon, will pay very well, which means more money for NASCAR, of course, but also for the teams, for the tracks. Both sides have merit. Things are expensive out there. I completely get that many fans won't want to pay for an additional service. But at the same time, Amazon especially is huge. Cable is dying. Traditional TV is kind of teetering. Streaming? Future is still unknown, but sky certainly seems to be the limit. Both sides of this argument have merit. I just hope one service wins out. And I don't know much about what Turner's doing. I know a little more about Amazon Prime. I would prefer Amazon Prime. I think they're a bigger brand. They probably have a much larger user base. I would prefer Amazon Prime, but whatever NASCAR ends up going with, whoever wins out in the end, I hope it's just one. I hope we don't have to jump between multiple streamers over a 10-week stretch. That will be a huge headache. But it sounds like we could find out in the next week or two, so I'm excited to see what happens. But that is going to do it for this episode, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Click the top link in the description to check out that all-new Out of the Groove hoodie. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel and you love NASCAR, and a huge thank you to my very generous Patreon supporters. New studio, still not 100% complete. You might see some tweaks and adjustments here in the coming days, but I appreciate y'all sticking with me. I'll catch you in the next episode, folks. Thanks for watching.